Hello, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back as I continue the build on my 1977 MGB Roadster. Apologies, it's been longer than I wanted to before I've seen you again. The lockdown, as we are still now, of course, in the midst of it. And I hope, by the way, that you are all keeping well and keeping safe. It seems almost the de rigueur thing to say now, doesn't it? But I hope you are. Deliveries that were brilliant, of course, have now, not surprisingly, slowed tremendously. So I am, well, running out of those little bits and pieces that we need to get jobs done. Small bits and pieces. The nuts and the bolts and the star washers that I talked about in my last film arrived, and they've been put to very good use, but I need other bits and pieces now, like Jubilee clips and various things. However, I've not been sitting twiddling my thumbs. I have been getting on with the green Roadster and also with the blue GT, my daughter's blue GT, which I will give you a quick guided tour. I was hoping to get the engine back in that a few days ago until I found out that the crankshaft oil seal was leaking. So again, that's been on order for probably nearly a week now, and I'm hoping it will turn up later on today, if not tomorrow. So hopefully by the weekend, the first weekend of April, as we are Easter weekend, I'll be able to get that engine and gearbox back in the blue GT. You'll see I've swapped the cars over because I thought I'd be able to get on with the GT a lot quicker than I did. That's by the by. Tour of that coming up. Right now, let me just show you what we've been doing with the Roadster. One of the big things was I've started to clean everything up and bolt it all back together. As you can see, the carbs are on, the exhaust manifold is on, and it's starting to look much more like an engine. I wanted to put the pedals in. Unfortunately, the spacer that goes in between the two pedals I didn't have, or I certainly couldn't find, so I've ordered a new one. That is on the way. The heater box has still got a few more repairs to go on it, but that needs to go back in as well. And I've just tried to be, again, this wiring is going to, I think, be a bit of a bone of contention, but I'm trying to get that sorted as well. I may have to wait until the lockdown's finished and I can get an auto electrician in, but I've got my best electrical goggles on, and I will see how that goes. And again, I've got a great blueprint in the car that's sitting next door to us at the moment, because this is a 77, that's a 75. There are one or two slight differences, but I should be able to muddle through. So as you can see, she's looking much more like an engine, still a lot more to do. So what I want to do now is to get the radiator in. Again, I can get the expansion tank in because I've just cleaned that down, rubbed it down, because it really was filthy, and it's come up rather well. So I want to get the expansion tank in as well. And I have all the hoses, and they're in really, really good condition. Can you spot what's missing? Yeah, the Jubilee clips. I don't have any. So I've got one or two broken ones. Clearly I'm not going to use those. Again, the Jubilee clips are on order. So I've got, I think, most of the hoses. I've ordered a new hose kit for the blue one anyway. That's coming in the same order package. So I can kind of pilfer a few bits and pieces where necessary, but I honestly don't know when those are all going to turn up. So let's get the radiator put in. I know that I haven't done, well, any restoration work on the radiator at all, but if it works, then brilliant. If it doesn't, then clearly I'll have to get it refurbished. You don't now, I mean, nowadays, fortunately, near where I live, there is a whole mound of people who commend things. Yorkshire and Hull, near Hull where I live, you can get anything either remade or refurbished or even manufactured from new. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. But of course, at this time when we're all locked down, you can't do anything about it. So I'm going to make sure that, you know, let's get the whole thing running, and then we'll troubleshoot. Then we'll do a snagging list. There we are. Right, great. So that's the radiator in. That's really steady in there as well. I know it doesn't look like the Mona Lisa, but I'll clean it up a little bit. And then, you know, when we make sure it's running properly, as I say, maybe when the car's finished, it doesn't take much to take this out again. And very soon after the engine's run, I'll run it for a couple of hours. And then I'm going to be changing all the fluids anyway. So that would be a good time to take the radiator out. If there's a problem, send it away and see how we go. Right, so there's one thing just left to do, and that is to install the expansion tank. So it's not as I say, difficult at all. The expansion tank's got a metal bracket that goes around it. You can see I've rubbed it all down and painted it. It hasn't come up too badly actually, so I'm pleased about that. Again, these differ from the age of MG that you have. It's the metal one in this one, a 77 car, and later it's different in the 75, it's different still if you go back in time as well to the Mark 1s. But in this case, it's this one. It is very, very simple. You put the captive nuts, there we are, through the inner wing, and then all it needs is a couple of nuts and washers just to hold it in place. And there we are, radiator in, expansion tank on, and hopefully by the next time we meet, if the hoses aren't already on, then we'll do them there as well. By the way, sorry, the sudden difference in the sound quality. I had bought a lovely microphone, which I was using, and then the camera it was plugged into died. So we're on the iPhone, and that's fine. I promised you very quickly a quick tour of the blue GT, the engine to which is here. That is waiting for the crankshaft oil seal. I'm waiting for that to arrive. As soon as I can get that done, then obviously I can get the gearbox, put it all back together, get the gearbox on, and get it in. The engine is grubby. I am going to clean it up. I'm not just going to bung it back in as it is. I'm going to clean it up. I'm not going to paint it, but I'm going to give it a good clean and replace some various bits and pieces like the exhaust manifold gasket, which I have a new one of those, and no point in putting it back in with old gaskets, so I'm going to change that. And the engine bay I'm really pleased with actually. It's looking really quite clean. The heater box is in now, the wiring is all in, one or two minor fixes to make there, but nothing that can't be solved, he said, quite quickly. Pedal box is all in, the brakes are ready to be bled, and then obviously the clutch can be done as soon as the gearbox is in. So as far as this little one's concerned, we're not far away from getting her running, he said. Fingers crossed, but hopefully by next time we meet, the engine will be in, she'll be buttoned up, and hopefully we'll be able to start it. I'll start her on camera so that you get to see it as well. Again, fingers crossed. Please do like, share, comment. I'd love to know your comments. I'd love to hear what you think of flat caps and classics and the continuing rebuild of the 77 Roadster. Do please pass it on and share it to friends, colleagues, comrades, loved ones, whoever you want, and click the bell if you want to be notified next time we subscribe, which, as the lockdown continues, I hope won't be too far in the future. I'll see you again. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.